If it has a score, we cover it more. From football to lacrosse, hockey to baseball, we've got what you want. Welcome to the Rod Pedersen Show.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Rod Pedersen Show. It is a Football Friday on episode 168 of Canada's only live morning sports talk show. I'm your host, Rod Pedersen. It's the Rollout before a live studio audience, and the co-host is here, Darren Dupont. How are you, Dupes?
Good morning. I'm doing really good. How are you?
It's game day for our teams, as it were.
Yeah.
You've got your Blades pullover on. I've got my Pats pullover on. But we will be talking football. And I brought in Hall of Fame writer, broadcaster John Frenzy for Football Friday. How you doing, Frenzy?
I'm doing great. Just great. Looking forward to the Super Bowl. Should be a great one, eh?
Yeah, no kidding.
I've said that before, guys, and you have too, and it turns out to be a dud, but this one can't turn out to be a dud. I just think there's so much on the line here. And Andy Reid wants that Super Bowl so badly, doesn't he? Eh? And he deserves one.
So does Kyle Shanahan. For those that are listening, not watching, Lynch has got a 49ers shirt on. Is that coincidence, or is that who you're picking, Frenzy?
I got this sent to me.
You got it sent to you.
So what's the answer?
Yeah.
Are you picking them?
Yes, definitely picking 49ers.
Lee Corso is supposed to wait till the end of the show to put
on the shirt. Well, maybe he'll rip off his shirt at the end of the show and unveil a real Super Bowl winner.
That'll be WWE stuff, like the NWO, rip it off.
So there's something to be hanging on till to the end, everybody. It's going to be a fun show. Football Friday, as we call it lovingly. And we've got some really big names coming on. Montreal Alouettes General Manager Danny Machocha will be joining us from La Belle Province. And breaking news out of Montreal. I said to Clark, I don't know if Danny's even going to have time to come on the program because he's had a very busy Friday. This has all come out within the last 30 minutes to an hour. The Alouettes have traded Bo Lacombo to the Argonauts for a conditional 8th-round pick. They've released DeVere Posey, friend of the show. They've released Tommy Campbell, re-signed Eugene Lewis, and this is all after releasing Antonio Pipkin and signing James Wilder Jr. yesterday. So thank you, Clark, for putting that up on my monitor. And talk about hot. We're going to have Danny Machocha on live here in Hour 1 to discuss all of these moves. He's not wasting time.
Is he good for the Alouettes?
We're going to find out. I think so. And so that's the first name that I mentioned. Frenzy's in the bunker. Our director of scouting, Craig Smith, is here. He's on the sponsors couch. 2-time Grey Cup champion will be with us to update his thoughts on all this. Breakdown Super Bowl 54. BC Lions defensive back Aaron Grimes is going to be joining us on video chat today. Is that Monday? Whoops. Matt Baker of the BC Lions. Thank you. Jeff Reinbold, the Hamilton Tiger Cats special teams coordinator, will be with us today, live from South Beach, and Super Bowl coverage where he's working for Fox Sports, or Sky Sports, the European Fox. And that's a big football show. I've got the Magnificent 7 show topics. May I?
Yes.
There will be a lot of CFL talk today, of course, and Sunday, February 2nd, is when what I'm terming bidding season begins. Do they have a name? Bidding, like tampering season's got a new name, right? Bidding season? I don't think it has a name. We're going to give it a name. Beginning Sunday, teams can officially, legally, in the CFL make offers to free agents on other teams. That's point 1. Point 2, do we like this new rule? And I don't know that they've got a name for it, Darren, do they?
No, not that I know of. We'll come up with one.
We'll come up with one today.
Oh, yeah.
3, why hasn't Willie Jefferson signed with the Dolphins yet? Because he's some people's number 1 on their board. He is my number 2 on the board because I think Nick Arbuckle's still more valuable. There's a lot of talk about Willie fielding offers from other CFL teams, re-signing with Winnipeg, or going to the Miami Dolphins. Why hasn't that happened yet? I want to talk about that. Point 4, I don't think we're done with the Caleros-Nichols debate. As a matter of fact, I know we're not, because, Smitty, we haven't talked about it with you yet. So Matt Nichols asking for his release right after the team extended Zach Caleros. I want to kick that around. Point 5, 3 Down Nation reporting that Charleston Hughes has been given a $15,000 raise up to $165,000 per season by the Saskatchewan Roughriders. I just want to kick that around, guys, on what you think, because this guy's led the CFL in sacks for, is it 5 years? At the very least 4. He's been one of the top defensive players in the CFL for the last several seasons. And based on last year's salary, making nowhere near what his line mate, Micah Johnson, was making. Okay? So we'll talk about the fair or unfairness of that situation. Point 6, NFL in Toronto, which why would we even spend any time on it? I think that's open and shut case. But they are still talking about it, so we will. And point 7, I asked Clark to throw this up on the screen. Tom Brady's Instagram post. I know our listeners that aren't watching won't know what it is. Can you put that up, Clark? Tom Brady put this on his Instagram. It's him walking down a hallway. I can only assume that's Gillette Stadium.
It is.
And it has... Look, I watched ESPN this morning for an hour. They debated what he meant by that post. And I'm embarrassed for the journalism industry if that's what... I'm embarrassed for the entertainment industry that you would spend an hour on ESPN, get up this morning, talking about what Tom might have meant by that. For instance, they're saying, is it a picture of him leaving? Is it a picture of him coming? Is it a picture of a tribute to Kobe? Is it some sort of marketing deal?
It's crazy.
An hour.
It's insane. He's the talk of Super Bowl.
Yes, he is.
He's taken over Super Bowl. But he's going to be a free agent. You know, he's sold his home. We've heard that. His trainer sold his home in the Boston area. So there's a lot to the story.
The wife wants to move, by the way.
Yeah, is he coming from the stadium? Is he leaving the stadium? What does that mean? And then somebody said, well, no, it's just a Kobe tribute, because Kobe has a similar picture walking out of Staples Center, into Staples Center, or whatever it was, you know, when he retired. And then it turns to, well, does that mean Tom's retiring because he's doing the same type of picture? There's no caption to the picture. He just posted a picture, and he's probably
it's black and white. Why is it black and white and not color?
Because then he's black and white, so he's blacked out, so you can't see if it's the front of his face or the back of his face. Right. Then somebody's like, well, he's a right-handed quarterback, which means he wears his watch in his left hand. There's a bulge of the watch on the left hand, so he's walking into the stadium, so he's coming back.
See why I'm embarrassed for the entertainment industry?
Yeah.
You want to see what it's like.
I get it. I would prefer you were talking about the game and the matchups and Mahomes versus Nick Bosa and these kinds of things. They want to spend an hour on Tom Brady's latest Instagram post. And what they're saying is that he's just trolling people. And in the CFL, there are no non-Grey Cup related announcements allowed during Grey Cup week, right?
Right.
Maybe not in the NFL because he's stolen Super Bowl week.
But that's... You know what? I don't mind that because it's a chance. You're showcasing the whole game. You have how many hours for how many days to preview the game. We can only talk about Mahomes and Garoppolo so much, and we continue to do it. And there's going to be so much to get to. But an hour on Tom Brady, I don't know about that. But it's a chance to talk about everything else that's going around in the league. Because where he goes, it's the biggest domino of the season.
It's the biggest well, they're saying it's the biggest offseason story in the National Football League. It's Tom Brady, but it's not the offseason yet. That's my thing. Can we just talk about the game, guys? But I get that all the time from football people, and I'm like, we got to give people what they want, and that's entertainment.
It is. And in the CFL, if we did that, I mean... Unfortunately, there's not enough people talking about the game on a daily basis or the offseason and the offseason. So if Grey Cup's a chance to get everybody together and talk about all these things and get that sparked, I'd be all for it.
We can talk about whatever we want to talk about. That's the main, as can ESPN.
Yeah.
By the way, Nelson's watching, and he wrote in, he says, the CFL is calling this free agency season, and it slid off the screen here. I have to go by memory. Oh, here it is. The CFL is calling it free agent negotiation window. Well, sure, that's the stuffy bureaucrat name for it. We want a fun name for it. Let's call it bidding season. Let's call it what? The auction.
The auction.
The auction starts on Sunday.
How's
like that?
That's good. That's the best name that works.
If I could auction, I would. I've tried. It's not easy.
There's been a lot of contact with a lot of players before the official bidding season starts, right, guys? It always goes on, called tampering, and it's always denied, etc. And I think it was really in excess this year. So, I mean, there's a lot of contact's been made, and it's going to be very interesting. The moment it's open, the season starts today or tomorrow, there's going to be a bunch of announcements, right?
Of signings?
I think so.
Well, they make their offers. They're not public. I don't think they're public, but they have to be registered with the league. I'm interested. You know, they need KPMG, an entire accounting firm to keep track of these offers. That's what I don't get. If 75% of the league are free agents and say each one gets 8 offers, that's thousands of offers to deal with and account for.
Oh, yeah. That's a lot.
Who's tracking that?
Right?
There should be more activity this year than ever before.
You guys are pointing at the screen and you're laughing at what our viewers are saying. And I'm glad that you all joined us for coffee this morning. Mark Anderson, our friend from Hanley School, says flea market is now open. The flea market.
Flea market. No.
No.
Auction's the best word.
Free agent auction wars.
Free agent auction.
Look at this right here. Free agent auction wars. FA auction wars right there by Jerry Hayes. Jerry Hales.
Neil Shuchuk, watching in Whitecourt, Alberta, with a great question. Thanks, Shuey. Does the average Canadian care about where Tom Brady goes or Nick Arbuckle? There it is. Does the average Canadian care about where Nick Brady or Tom Brady will go or where Arbuckle goes?
Or Arbuckle.
Does the average Canadian know who Nick Arbuckle is? That's the question. They all know who Tom Brady is.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
But it's a really good point by Neil. Arbuckle's not the top quarterback in the CFL, but he's the top free agent quarterback in the CFL, and I'm sorry to Matt Nichols. But I would rather sign Nick Arbuckle. I think he's got a bigger upside. That's just me. Frenzy, your take. Point 4 of the Magnificent 7 show topics here. Zach Collaros signed, Matt Nichols gone. What did you think when you heard about that?
I wasn't surprised. I thought it was a good move by the Bombers, a realistic move. I mean, Zach Collaros, when he went to Winnipeg, those 4 games at the end of the year, he was spectacular. Beating Calgary twice in Calgary, 35-15 in the semifinal, and then the Grey Cup game, 33-12 over Winnipeg. They beat the hell out of Winnipeg, and Zach Collaros was terrific. The players, as you guys will both know, really wanted Collaros, and they pitched the executive for that. I went along with it. I think it had to be done. Feel bad about
Nichols.
He had them at a 7-2 record when he got hurt. I mean, he's a good quarterback, but he has a knack of getting hurt halfway through the year in the last 2 years. I have to say to you that I agree with what Winnipeg did.
I think we all do.
Yeah.
Don't we?
I mean, I like Matt Nichols as a quarterback, and I thought he would have been a great option too. I mean, it comes down to how can you not reward the guy who won you a Grey Cup and broke that streak? Not saying Matt Nichols wouldn't have been able to do that. His numbers have always been good, even though he hasn't maybe won the playoff games. What has he won? One playoff game in Winnipeg.
Yep.
But he's had good numbers in all of his playoff starts, and the defense hasn't played that well in his starts. And it was completely different. With Zach Collaros at quarterback. He didn't have great numbers, but he had good numbers. Defense played really good. It's not just one guy, but if a guy comes in and gets the job done, how do you not reward him for winning the Grey Cup? How do you say, hey, thanks for the night, but see ya?
Guys,
I know.
It's
Sorry,
hard.
go ahead.
I got to ask you guys, who is the real Zach Collaros? I mean, he was brilliant in Winnipeg. He had some good times here, but some bad times too. And after he got hurt after 2015, he wasn't that good a quarterback. Prior to that, he was great. Remember in 2015, we're all thinking he was going to be the player of the year, eh?
He was on track to be.
Track to be it. So I don't know. Who is the real Zach Collaros? I mean, he was brilliant in these last 4 games. The guy was out of this world.
Well, the one thing we know about Zach Collaros, at least lately, is he wins football games. He won football games here when he's healthy.
That's a good point.
Numbers weren't great. He's
a winner.
That same guy, but he's a winner.
Yep.
So how do you not want a guy who's a winner?
Yeah. Winnipeg fans are happy. That's what they wanted. And that's what the players wanted. So they got it.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Shuey, he's the mayor of Negative Town today. He says, further to the point, if you don't live in a CFL city, you don't even care about Nichols or Collaros. I talk to young fans, CFL not on their radar. Scary times. It is what it is. We're going to be here talking about it every day as much as we can and hope it gravitates to the younger people. Whatever. We can't control them. People are writing in talking about CFL marketing, K-Dog, regarding Arbuckle and all these free agents going south. It just goes to show how undermarketed the CFL is. So many opportunities. Listen, I don't want today in particular to sit here and be a CFL bash session because we love the league. We're going to talk about the league. We love the players. And if everybody did their part, we wouldn't have this problem.
Yes.
That's right.
Nobody cared about Tom Brady until we started talking about him, until he started playing.
Exactly.
And we started talking about him. So unfortunately, We got to shove these guys down your throats. You'll learn who they are. You'll attach yourself to one of them. You'll build fans that way.
Well, I like Neil Suchek, eh? I don't know him, I don't think. Maybe I do, but isn't that a typical negative move, a statement of the negative bunch, the negative Normans, as I call them? They just got to sit back there and find something to bitch about, eh? About the league. I mean, do they go to the games? Do they enjoy it?
Yeah. Keep going. Lynch, you said you wanted to talk more, so go.
Well, I just get upset about guys like that put all the negatives there. It's a great league. We should love it more. I'm upset, of course, with what Roger Goodell said, that all we need for a team in Toronto is a stadium, and I'll get the ball rolling there again. But nothing will happen, of course. But I would wish that Roger Goodell, once in a while, would say something good about the CFL. Because he knows Canada real well. He knows the league real well. But overall, I think things are going real good right now. I think we're looking good to a real good season. I hope the Halifax experiment turns out okay. It's going to be a very enjoyable year, I think.
But it's funny you said that. I think the CFL is coming off pretty good in terms of its exposure with all these guys signing in the NFL. And you're starting to see, whether it's Adam Schefter talking about the Trey Roberson signing and how he was the top free agent in the Canadian Football League. And they're mentioning the league and talking about it with some reverence and how it has some credibility to it. And, that he might be the top, it might be the most lucrative deal for a CFL player coming down to the NFL since Cameron Wake. It's pretty good. And when you start bringing up those names like Cameron Wake, it starts adding more and more credibility.
Sure does.
There's no doubt. And I don't, like Chris Jones came on here a couple of weeks ago and said every day he defends the CFL in America. And I don't understand who he would be talking to that he feels that need. Jeff Reinbold, who will be with us later from Super Bowl, when he was on our program the first time, you probably saw his tweet after. He said, Rod, thank you for sticking up for the CFL. And I just feel like, why do we have to? I don't stick up for it. I just talk about it because I love it. And we all love it. But I guess people feel the need to defend it. I don't. It is what it is.
Yeah.
Let's enjoy it for what it is.
Exactly.
And if people don't want to watch it, that's their problem.
I really believe, though, that Chris Jones is a fan of the CFL.
Well, he should be.
Yeah, he should be. But
he spent 17 years in the league.
That's right. And got a fair paycheck in Saskatchewan. But I believe he loves the league.
Clark, can you put up this? It slid off the screen, the comment from James Hamilton. It was regarding Zach. This is where I will roll out the rollout. This will be the last point here before we break. And we got Danny Machochi coming up. But James Hamilton writes on our Facebook wall, just a reminder, boys, Zach's a great story. Unfortunately, he's one big-time hit to the head again, and he may be finished for good. Go Chiefs. Brady just trying to create a little hysteria. Who cares? So some great points there from James Hamilton. Yep. That's the point about Zach Collaros. Yes, he's one hit away, but quite frankly, we all are. So's Matt Nichols. Took a shot from Odell Willis and his season was over. That's the quarterback position. And you said it very well, Darren, that how do you not re-sign this guy after what he did going 4 for 4? And that is the conundrum that the Winnipeg Blue Bombers found themselves in. As their broadcaster, Bob Irving, put on Twitter, this was an agonizing decision for the Brain Trust, and I don't doubt for 1 second that they agonized over it. But how many times do I have to tell you, as a guy that knows Zach Collaros quite well here, myself, there's more than just stats with this guy. There's something about him that makes you reach another level. And everybody around him. Can he be a jerk? Yes. I like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We all need a little bit of that.
Yep.
Sandpaper. Zach's a first one in, last guy out kind of guy. Yep. Student of the game. No, I don't know Matt Nichols at all. I don't think I've ever met him. So I don't know what he brings. But from what I see, I don't like complaining that he got booed in his own stadium. He's upset that they're talking with Zach Collaros. Zach wouldn't care about that stuff. That's the difference. It's not just about fantasy numbers with Zach Collaros. I can't speak to these other guys, but that's why I think they gravitated to Zach, the Bomber Brain Trust. Is that fair? Just from what I know of the situation.
Well, Nelson Hackowitz says Collaros is a brilliant football mind. I think he is. He's shown us that. Some of the moves he's made, some of the big plays he's made, the big plays, eh? He does make big plays.
Yes, and it's about your track record, and Zach got it done. He delivered when the chips were down for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. And as far as, we had mentioned this earlier in the week, people say Chris Jones couldn't find a quarterback when he was with the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Well, he did. His name was Zach Collaros. But the football gods dictated as such that this guy wasn't going to be able to finish the season with Saskatchewan. But Jones identified him, and he went on to win a Grey Cup, just happened to be 1 year too late. So that's the rollout for Flooring Superstores, and we very much appreciate the partnership with Flooring Superstores and all of our partners, but they bring you the rollout each and every day. On the way, Danny Machocha, Jeff Reinbold, Craig Smith, our Director of Scouting, Matt Baker. It's a fantastic Football Friday right here. You're watching The Rod Pedersen Show on Facebook Live and listening at rodpedersen.com.
You're watching Rod Pedersen On Demand. For more of The Rod Pedersen Show, visit rodpedersen.com or follow Rod Pedersen on social media.